It is a chilly afternoon in 1945, and Percy Spencer is walking through a high-tech laboratory at Raytheon, a company dedicated to building the most advanced radar systems for the Allied war effort. In his pocket, he has a simple peanut cluster bar, a snack to get him through the long hours of engineering. As he stands in front of an active magnetron, a vacuum tube that generates the microwave radiation needed for radar, he feels something strange, a warmth in his pocket. He reaches down and discovers that his candy bar has turned into a gooey, melted mess, yet the wrapper is completely cool. In that moment, a man who never finished grammar school realized something that the greatest physicists in the world had overlooked. The same waves used to track enemy bombers could also cook dinner. Today, we are telling the story of Raytheon, the defense giant that accidentally turned a weapon of war into the most common appliance in the modern kitchen. The story of Raytheon doesn't start with food, but with the desperate need to see through the dark. Founded in 1922 as the American Appliance Company in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the firm was the brainchild of Vannevar Bush, Lawrence Marshall, and Charles Smith. They weren't interested in ovens. They were pioneers in the new frontier of electronics. Their first major success was the S-tube, a gaseous rectifier that allowed radios to be plugged into wall outlets instead of relying on massive, leaky batteries. This single invention helped bring the radio into the American living room, but it was just a hint of the industrial power they were about to build. As the world drifted toward World War II, the company, now renamed Raytheon, meaning light from the gods, shifted its focus to the most critical technology of the era, radar. Enter Percy Spencer. Spencer was the quintessential American self-made man. Born in a small town in Maine in 1894, his childhood was one of extreme hardship. His father died when he was a toddler, and his mother abandoned him shortly after. He was raised by an aunt and uncle, and by the age of 12, he was working full-time in a spool mill. He never graduated from elementary school, let alone high school or college. But Spencer had a mechanical mind that was unparalleled. He taught himself calculus, chemistry, and physics while working as a wireless operator in the Navy. When he joined Raytheon in the 1920s, he quickly became their most brilliant troubleshooter. During the war, Spencer was tasked with a monumental challenge. The British had invented the magnetron, a device that could produce high-frequency radio waves for radar, but they couldn't mass-produce it. Spencer looked at the complex, handcrafted device and redesigned the manufacturing process using a system of punched-out metal plates that could be stacked and soldered together. His innovation allowed Raytheon to go from producing 17 magnetrons a day to 2,600. It was a feat of engineering that arguably helped win the war, but it also set the stage for his most famous accident. That day in 1945, when the chocolate bar melted in his pocket, Spencer didn't just clean his pants and move on. He was a scientist at heart. He went to the lab kitchen and grabbed a bag of popcorn kernels. He held the bag in front of the magnetron, and within seconds, the kernels began to dance and pop all over the room. The next day, he brought in a raw egg. He cut a hole in a kettle, placed the egg inside, and aimed the magnetron at it. A skeptical colleague leaned in to see what was happening just as the egg exploded, splattering hot yolk all over his face. Spencer had confirmed his theory. The microwave energy was agitating the water molecules inside the food, creating heat through friction. He had discovered a way to cook from the inside out, at speeds that seemed like magic. Raytheon realized they had a potential gold mine on their hands. In 1945, they filed the first patent for a microwave cooking process, and by 1947, they unveiled the radar range. But if you're imagining the compact box sitting on your counter today, you're mistaken. The original radar range was a monster. It stood nearly 6 feet tall, weighed over 750 pounds, and required a dedicated plumbing system to water-cool the massive magnetron inside. It cost about $5,000, roughly $70,000 in today's money. It was so expensive and so intimidating that it was only sold to high-end restaurants, cruise ships, and military hospitals. The public wasn't ready for atomic cooking, and for a long time, it looked like the microwave might remain a niche industrial tool. The struggle to bring the microwave into the home lasted for decades. Raytheon bought Amana, a manufacturer of refrigerators and air conditioners, to help them understand the consumer market. Engineers worked tirelessly to miniaturize the magnetron and replace the expensive water cooling system with air cooling. In 1955, they licensed the technology to Tappan, which produced the first wall-mounted home microwave, but at $1,295, it was still more expensive than a new car. It wasn't until 1967 that the breakthrough finally happened. Amana introduced the Radar Range RR6, the first compact countertop microwave that could be plugged into a standard 115-volt outlet. It was priced at $495, and for the first time, the American housewife could cook a potato in 4 minutes instead of 40. The adoption was slow at first. There were deep fears about radiation. People thought the food would become radioactive, or that the waves would leak out and cause blindness or cancer. Raytheon and Amana had to launch massive PR campaigns, using scientists and home economists to prove that microwaves were non-ionizing and perfectly safe. As the 1970s progressed, the culture began to shift. The rise of the working mother and the TV dinner created a desperate need for speed in the kitchen. By 1975, sales of microwave ovens exceeded those of gas ranges for the first time. The accident in Percy Spencer's pocket had officially won the kitchen. But the story of Raytheon isn't just about popcorn and leftovers. The company never stopped being a defense giant. The same expertise in magnetrons and high-frequency waves that gave us the microwave also gave us the Patriot missile system, advanced satellite communications, and the electronic warfare suites that protect modern fighter jets. Today, Raytheon is part of RTX Corporation, one of the largest aerospace and defense contractors in the world. They are the invisible force behind the sensors that track everything from weather patterns to incoming ballistic missiles. They are a reminder that technology is rarely a straight line. It is a web of connections where a tool built to kill can become a tool that sustains. Why does this story matter? Because it challenges the myth of the lone genius in an ivory tower. Percy Spencer was a man who couldn't even show you a primary school diploma, yet he understood the physical world better than almost anyone of his generation. He had the curiosity to ask why when a snack was ruined, and Raytheon had the industrial foresight to back him. They took a technology that was literally a military secret and found a way to make it useful for the average person. They proved that the most revolutionary inventions are often the ones we stumble upon while looking for something else. The impact of the microwave on global culture is hard to measure. It changed how we design our homes, how we package our food, and even how we perceive time. It created the instant culture we live in today. But at its core, it is still just a magnetron, the same device that scanned the skies for the Luftwaffe in 1940. The next time you heat up a cup of coffee or pop a bag of popcorn, take a second to think about the giant water-cooled machines of 1947. Think about the engineer from Maine who saw a melted candy bar as a window into the future. The lesson of Raytheon is one of adaptability and the value of the accidental discovery. In a world where companies are often hyper-focused on their specific niche, Raytheon was willing to pivot from the battlefield to the breakfast table. They understood that innovation doesn't respect boundaries. A radar company became a kitchen company, and in doing so, they changed the daily rhythm of billions of people. As we look toward the future of technology, from quantum computing to directed energy weapons, we have to wonder what the next melted chocolate bar moment will be. What are we building right now for defense or space exploration that will eventually end up in our pockets or our homes? The road to the future is often paved with the unintended consequences of the present. Raytheon didn't set out to change the kitchen, they set out to protect the country. But by being open to the unexpected, they did both. So, the next time you hear the beep of your microwave, remember Percy Spencer. Remember the man who never finished school but taught the world a new way to live. Remember the company that took the power of the gods, Raytheon, and put it in a beige box on your counter. It's a story of how a simple accident, handled with curiosity and industrial might, can transform the world. Subscribe if you want to keep exploring the fascinating stories of the companies and the accidents that built the modern world. And tell us in the comments, What's the one thing you absolutely couldn't live without in your kitchen? We'll see you in the next one.